She likes you. But she's hiding it, and you're too blind to see it. Here's the problem. Most men think women are supposed to come right out and say, "I like you." Spoiler alert, they won't. Not because they don't feel it, but because female attraction rarely shows up in words. It shows up in behavior. Quiet, subtle, confusing behavior. And unless you know what to look for, you'll miss it every single time. Let's make this uncomfortable. Some of you are friend-zoning yourselves while she's literally waiting for you to make a move. You think she's just nice or playful or a little flirty, when in reality, she's testing you to see if you're man enough to catch the signal. This isn't about being a mind reader. It's about understanding the psychology behind female attraction. Because unlike men, women don't just chase what they want. They position themselves to be noticed. And if you miss the cues, she won't wait forever. Let's get even more real. Sometimes the reason she hides it isn't fear. It's control. She wants to like you on her terms. She wants to see if you'll chase, if you'll fold, or if you'll lead. And if you don't lead, you lose. Period. But here's what they don't tell you. Even when she tries to suppress it, attraction always leaks. In her body language, in her conversations, in the things she says, and especially in the things she doesn't. So this video isn't about pickup lines or forcing her to admit how she feels. It's about showing you the real signs, the ones she can't fully hide, even when she tries. Once you understand these patterns, you'll never look at just being friends the same way again. No more guessing, no more overthinking, no more missed chances. If she's into you, I'm going to teach you how to know for sure. Let's get into it. 1. She mirrors your energy but pretends it's a coincidence. Here's one most guys never catch. When a woman likes you, she'll mirror your vibe, but act like it's nothing. She's not going to come out and say, "I'm into you." That would make her vulnerable. Instead, she copies your energy to feel connected to you, and to make sure she's staying on your radar without making it obvious. Pay attention. You start using a certain phrase. Suddenly, she's saying it too. You're into a certain type of music. Now she randomly starts mentioning that artist. You change your hairstyle or look, she compliments it, then shows up with a similar vibe herself. This is not random. This is female psychology 101. Mirroring is subconscious. It's instinctive. When someone's drawn to you, especially someone trying to hide it, they'll unconsciously align themselves with your patterns. They want to blend into your world without fully stepping into it. Why? Because it gives them proximity without pressure. And here's the crazy part. When you point it out, she'll deny it. Laugh it off. Act surprised. That's part of the game. The trick is not to confront it. It's to observe it. Now let's bring it to life. You notice she's talking like you. Using slang you use. Laughing at things no one else finds funny. She even starts dressing more like the vibe you give off. Laid back if you're chill, more polished if you're sharp. You think, maybe we're just similar. Number. You're not just similar. She's adapting to your energy, but she's hiding behind coincidence. Because if she tells you she's doing it on purpose, she loses power. But if she plays it off like, "Wow, that's so weird," she stays in control. You won't suspect anything. And she gets to stay close. Men miss this all the time. They think it's just a fun vibe. But trust me, if she's reflecting your energy back at you consistently, that's not a friendship. That's attraction in disguise. 2. She finds excuses to be near you, and then plays it off. This one is subtle, but it's a classic. When a woman likes you and is trying not to show it, she'll keep placing herself in your space, over and over again. But here's the key. She never makes it look intentional. It's always just random, right? Wrong. It's a calculated move. She wants to be close enough for you to notice her, but not close enough to risk rejection. Let's say you're at work, at the gym, in class, or in any social group. She always ends up near you, sitting close, standing nearby, choosing the same table, walking the same direction, and when you comment on it, she'll laugh, shrug, say something like, "Oh, wow, I didn't even realize," but she did. Trust me, she did. It's not a coincidence, it's female strategy. See, women understand that presence is powerful. When they're around you consistently, it builds familiarity, comfort, warmth. Even if she never says a word, just being near you creates a type of intimacy, one that makes you think about her more than you realize. This is why you'll notice her in your line of sight. She won't chase, she'll hover. And when you start a conversation, she'll fully engage. But she'll never be the one to initiate outright. That's the key. She wants connection without exposure. She doesn't want to look thirsty. She wants you to lead. Now here's what most men do. They ignore it. They think it's a coincidence or just casual friendliness. And by the time they finally get the message, she's already convinced herself you're not interested and pulls back completely. That's how signals get missed. That's how attraction dies in silence. So the next time she's always randomly near you, don't just let it slide. Notice it. Lean into it. Because no woman keeps showing up around the same man for no reason. She's hoping you catch on. 3. She brings up other guys to see how you react. This one's clever, and it messes with a lot of men because they think she's trying to make them jealous. Sometimes she is. But more often, she's looking for confirmation that you feel something. When a woman likes you but doesn't want to be obvious about it, she might casually mention other guys in conversation, but pay close attention to how she says it. She might talk about, "This guy at the gym that keeps flirting. My DMs are crazy lately. Yeah, some guy asked me out but I said no. Ugh, this dude keeps texting me." Now here's where the psychology kicks in. She's not saying it because she likes those guys. She's saying it to trigger a response from you, to see if you flinch, if you show a little tension, if your tone shifts. Because if it does, that's her proof you care. It's a risky move, but it gives her emotional data. She gets to protect herself and fish for interest at the same time. And here's what's wild. If you act unbothered, too chill, too indifferent, she might take that as, "Oh, he doesn't like me like that," even if you were just trying to play it cool. On the flip side, if you start getting territorial too fast, she might back off. So she's not looking for an extreme, she's looking for emotional presence, a subtle sign that says, "Okay, he cares." This is especially true for women who are guarded or who've been burned before. They don't want to make the first move, they want you to do it, but they also don't want to look foolish, misread the situation, or risk rejection. So they test the waters. That's why it's so relatable. Every man has heard that one line about this other guy and either got confused or caught feelings without understanding why. Now you know. When she brings up other men but watches your reaction closely, that's not small talk, that's emotional bait. Don't fall for it blindly, but don't ignore it either. 4. She teases you more than anyone else. This one's classic, and most guys mistake it as just playfulness. But when a woman constantly teases you, more than she does anyone else, there's something deeper going on. Let's break it down. Teasing is emotional cover. It's how she keeps things fun and light while testing the connection. She doesn't want to admit she likes you, so she hides it behind little jabs, sarcastic comments, or playful insults. It's her way of getting close without getting exposed. And here's the crazy part. She'll do it in public, around friends, in group settings, but only to you. Why? Because you've got her attention. She might say things like, "You're so full of yourself. I bet you say that to all the girls. You think you're smooth, huh? You're actually kind of annoying." But pay attention to the smile, the eye contact, the quick glances to see how you respond. That's not disrespect. That's flirting in disguise. The teasing is really about one thing: emotional safety. If you take it well, play back, and show confidence, she feels comfortable. She sees you as fun, secure, and unbothered, which only increases her attraction. But if you get defensive or weird about it, she pulls back fast. And here's where most guys mess up. They either try too hard to impress her, or they completely miss that teasing is a sign of comfort. They start chasing harder, when in reality, she's already interested. She's just not being direct. Women aren't going to tell you straight up, "I like you." That would make them feel too vulnerable. So they joke, they poke, they test your reactions. If she constantly targets you with playful heat, it's because she's trying to stand out to you without making it obvious to everyone else. And that says everything. Remember, teasing isn't random. It's selective, intentional, and personal. So if she's always joking with you, giving you a hard time, but doing it with that little grin, she's not trying to annoy you. She's trying to connect. 5. Her friends start acting weird around you. This is one of the clearest indicators, but it doesn't come from her directly. It comes from her circle. When a woman likes you and is trying to keep it under wraps, there's one group that always exposes it without even meaning to: her friends. Here's what usually happens. You walk into a room and suddenly, her friends go quiet when you show up. They nudge her or smirk when you're around. They look at each other when you talk. One of them randomly brings your name up in conversation, or they joke about you in front of her just to see her reaction. You're not imagining it. They know. Because let's be honest, women talk. A lot. If she likes you, she's told her friends. She's asked what they think. She's confessed something. Even if she's playing it cool in front of you, she's already spilled the details to her inner circle. And now, they're watching, observing, waiting, not just to see what you'll do, but how she'll respond when you're around. And the signs get louder over time. They might tease her when you speak. They might ask you questions about your love life, seemingly out of nowhere. They might accidentally leave you two alone in a room. Or they might say things like, "Ah, you two would be cute together," then pretend it's a joke. But it's not a joke, it's a signal. The thing is, most guys miss this completely because they're only paying attention to her behavior, not the vibe of the group. But women rarely move alone when it comes to attraction. If she likes you, her friends are already in on it. And here's the best part. Even if she's doing a great job hiding her feelings, her friends usually suck at hiding theirs. So if you notice her crew acting different when you're around, don't overthink. They know something you don't. And chances are, it's this. She likes you, and she's waiting on you to make a move. 6. She texts dry but acts warm in person. This right here throws guys off every time. You're thinking, she's not that into me. Her texts are short, slow, or basic. But then you see her in person, and suddenly she's glowing, laughing, making eye contact, finding ways to keep the conversation going. 2 completely different energies. So what's going on? Simple. She's trying to hide her interest, and texting is where she feels most in control. In person, she can't hide how she feels, but over text, she can keep it neutral, calculated, even distant, just enough to avoid coming off too available. This is how female psychology works in silence. A lot of women don't want to seem like they're chasing. They fear being too eager, especially if they really like you. So they pull back in the digital world, just enough to protect themselves. But their real feelings show when they can't filter their reactions. That's why in person, she stays close to you in the room, laughs at your jokes, even the dumb ones, touches her hair or adjusts her clothes more often, finds ways to extend the conversation or hang out, gets slightly nervous but still wants your attention. But when she gets home, dry texts, one-word replies, delayed responses, just enough to make you second-guess everything you thought you saw. And here's where most men mess up. They take the texting energy as the truth and they start pulling back. Big mistake. Because in her mind, the real connection is when she's with you, and the dry texting is her emotional armor. So don't get discouraged if her text game is cold. Watch how she acts when you're face to face. That's where the truth lives. If she lights up around you but keeps it minimal over the phone, it's not disinterest, it's control. She likes you. She just doesn't want to hand you the power too easily. And if you read that right, you'll know how to move. 7. She asks personal questions, then quickly changes the subject. Now this one seems harmless, even friendly. She asks you something deep, personal, or vulnerable, and right when it starts getting real, boom, she shifts the topic like it never happened. Why? Because she wants to know you, but she's scared of revealing too much of her own intentions. She's trying to collect emotional intel, but if the vibe gets too intimate, she backs out to avoid looking obvious. This is female curiosity mixed with fear of exposure. Here's how it usually plays out. You're talking casually, and suddenly she hits you with, "Have you ever been in love? What do you look for in a girl? Would you ever settle down? Do you believe in soulmates?" Then, as soon as you start opening up, she interrupts herself. "Oh, by the way," or, "Haha, sorry, random question." Or she just laughs it off and moves on. Don't get it twisted. Those weren't random questions. They were pressure points. She wants answers, but she also doesn't want to admit why she's asking. And here's what you need to understand. A woman who doesn't care won't ask those questions. A woman who likes you but is trying to hide it, she'll sneak them in, then pull back before it gets too real. This is especially common in early stages, when she's still figuring out how safe you are, how emotionally intelligent you are, and if there's even potential between you two. So she tests it, softly, carefully, indirectly. And if you miss it, she won't repeat herself. She'll just assume you're either not feeling her or not emotionally aware enough to get what she was doing. So next time she drops a personal question out of nowhere and then quickly deflects, don't ignore it. That wasn't small talk. That was a peek into her curiosity about you. She's trying to stay in control. But underneath that, she's definitely feeling something. 8. She remembers the tiniest things you say. Most men underestimate this one because it seems small, harmless, friendly, but listen closely. A woman who's trying to act like she doesn't like you, but remembers the random things you've said, she's locked in. We're not talking about big, obvious moments. We're talking about the stuff you probably forgot you even mentioned, your favorite drink, that you hate traffic, a random song you like, the fact that you once said you wanted to visit Tokyo, that time you said your mom makes the best rice and stew. Then one day, she brings it up, casually, smooth, like it's no big deal. "Oh yeah, I remember you said you liked that." Or she shows up and says, "I got you this. Thought of you when I saw it." You're shocked, but she plays it cool. That's not friendliness. That's focused attention. Because here's how women operate. They remember details when they care. They lock in on the things that matter to them emotionally. And if you are one of those things, their memory is razor sharp. What makes this even more real is that she'll never act like she went out of her way. She'll pretend like she just happened to recall it. But don't let that fool you. She thought about it, sat with it, and made a mental note. And here's the kicker. She doesn't do this for everyone. You think she's just naturally thoughtful? Nah, she's selective. The fact that she remembers the little things about you means you've taken up real estate in her mind. And she's thinking about you even when she's not around. That's attraction, in disguise. So next time she brings up a random thing you said weeks ago, don't brush it off. Don't act surprised. Understand what it really means. You're on her mind, and she's trying not to admit it. That's not coincidence. That's interest with the volume turned down. 9. She talks about you when you're not around. Here's a truth most men don't realize. If a woman likes you, the evidence doesn't start when you show up. It starts when you're gone. And if she's trying not to show it directly, that's when her words leak out sideways, especially around friends, coworkers, mutuals, even your own people. You'll start hearing things like, "Yo, she was just talking about you the other day. She said you're actually a really good guy. She always brings you up for some reason. I think she likes you, bro." Now here's the part that's real. Women rarely talk about men they don't feel something for, especially not repeatedly. If you're just some guy, she might mention you once, maybe in passing. But if she keeps talking about you, even when you're not around, that means you're living in her head rent-free. And it's even louder if she tries to downplay it when you're present. Like she's all cool and neutral around you, but her friends already know the deal. Why? Because she vents to them. She shares screenshots. She overanalyzes your texts. She asks them for advice about things you said that you thought were casual. That's how women process attraction. They don't always tell you directly, but they absolutely tell the people they trust. So if her people start acting different toward you, friendly, playful, curious, even a little nosy, that's usually your sign. You've been a topic, and not a small one. And let's be real. A woman who isn't into you doesn't bring you up like that. She doesn't ask what you're doing. She doesn't wonder who you're talking to. She doesn't remember your birthday. And she sure as hell isn't asking her friends what they think about you. But if she's saying your name in rooms you're not even in, if her energy changes when she hears your name come up, that's not random. That's hidden interest slipping out through conversation. And if you catch it early, you'll know exactly where you stand. 10. She pulls away to see if you'll chase. This is where it gets frustrating, because just when you thought things were flowing, she suddenly changes. Less texting, slower replies, less energy, more, "I've been busy." And you're sitting there wondering, did I do something wrong? Is she losing interest? Was it all in my head? No, it wasn't. She's not pulling back because she's not interested. She's pulling back because she is, and she wants to see what you'll do next. This is the classic female psychology move: create space and watch. Not because she wants to hurt you, but because she wants to know if you care enough to notice. It's a loyalty check, an interest test. And yes, sometimes it's a power move. She wants to feel like you're willing to pursue, not just when it's easy, but when there's tension. She wants to see if you fold, fade, or fight for the connection, even if she was the one creating the distance. It's frustrating, but it's real. And here's the key. This is usually the final sign before she decides if she'll fully open up or back off for good. She's thinking, let me fall back and see if he notices. If I don't text, will he check on me? If I don't flirt, will he still flirt? If I stop giving energy, does he give up? And what do most men do? They assume she's gone cold, so they go cold too. Mutual silence, no follow-up, no clarity, and just like that, something that could have grown dies out. Not because of lack of chemistry, but because of emotional miscommunication. So here's the move. If you know she was showing signs, and she suddenly pulls back, don't panic, don't chase blindly, but don't disappear either. Check in, keep it cool, re-engage, let her know you noticed, and you're not afraid to lead. Because sometimes the final sign she likes you is her pretending she doesn't. If you're still waiting for her to say, "I like you," you've already missed it. Women rarely use words, they use behavior. And the truth is, if you've been blind to the signs, it's not because she wasn't showing them. It's because you weren't ready to see them. So here's your challenge. Stop overthinking her words. Start watching her patterns. Because no woman hides interest perfectly. She just hopes the right man will read between the lines. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a situation where you felt like she liked you, but you weren't sure? Did you miss the signs? Or catch them too late? Drop your story in the comments. I'm reading every one, and I'll be replying. Let's build a real conversation between men who are learning to read what's not being said. This isn't just about spotting signs. It's about moving through life with clarity, confidence, and control.